I've been here since I was born. I was born in Evansville, Indiana. I'm now 18 years old. My parents came from around outside Chicago, so that's where a lot of my family is, but this is where we ended up because my dad joined the police department. Why do I like it here? I'd say it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with Evansville. Probably more hate because I've been here my whole life and I'm just ready to get out of college and branch out, and I really want to move to Chicago, so that's probably one of my big dreams. But I like I love the downtown area, the art district, and all of those things are probably my favorite. There's a lot of good people here, lots of photographers, so it's really awesome that there's always someone inspiring other people with their work and things like that. When did I first pick up a camera? I've been taking pictures for a majority of my life, but I probably didn't start doing it I guess as a career, as a interest until I was about probably 14, 15 or so, and that's kind of when I started my business and started taking pictures for people and for events and for my school and things like that. That's probably about the time I started with photography. What are my favorite things to photograph and what defines my style? That would probably be music photography. Music photography I've been doing for years. I first started out shooting these little venues around town, like Wired and Sorties and PG and things like that. And then I still shoot all those venues just because Evansville doesn't have too many live music options compared to larger cities. So I still shoot a lot of those and shoot for bands and things like that. But my favorite thing is probably shooting at the Ford Center or getting to go out of town for music festivals and things like that. And my style would be just action. When it comes to music photography, I like to catch people jumping in the air or just having all the emotion in their face as they're like blasting out song lyrics and things like that. But I love especially shooting at the Ford Center because the lighting is so awesome. When I shoot a lot of the smaller venues, I have to use like more of an external flash, but when I go to the Ford Center, I can just kind of have fun and not have to worry about lighting the whole time. But yeah, this summer I have a lot of festivals coming up, like Warped Tour and Rock on the Range and Bunbury in Ohio, so I'm super excited for those. Locally, I take pictures for News For You magazine, and I'm hopefully going to be eventually doing some stuff for Courier and Press, live music wise, but right now it's pretty cool because I'm getting published every month with live music photos, so it's really awesome. Just had Casting Crowns a couple nights ago, so that was awesome. But yeah, most of the opportunities I get are for News For You. I started a blog that I'm hoping I can start to use to get more viewers, and that way I can go shoot bands and then kind of write a blog about it and things like that. So. But for the festivals that are farther away, I usually just say I'm a student and that I'm a music photographer from Evansville and that I'm interested in shooting the bands. And usually I'll find one or two bands that'll let me take pictures for them, and then I can stay the 3 days or whatever that the festival is to shoot all of the bands. So, but that's usually my plan. My goals as a photographer. I'd eventually, after I get out of college, would love to go on tour. Maybe even one of these summers while I'm out of college, go on tour with Warped Tour or one of the big bands that's going on right now, because they always have a touring photographer usually. That's probably one of my biggest goals, but I'd also like to try to make a living off of concert photography, but it's really difficult to do because people aren't wanting to essentially pay for pictures that they can get from other freelancers for free. So that would probably be one of my major goals, but if that doesn't work out, then my main goal in life for a career would probably be being a forensic photographer for the FBI. That's what I'm aiming for right now, and I'm in school for, so hopefully that would work out. And if not, my backup plan is to be a marine photographer. So my favorite piece of gear that I own is probably my 85 fixed lens. I love it so much. I've always been a fixed lens person. I don't know why. I just always have drifted towards them. I also have the 24 Pancake, which is my other favorite lens, but I'm in college, so I can't afford that much equipment. So I've just been keeping it pretty cheap. So, but I have a lot of journey cameras and lenses, but I have the 7D. So sometimes I print my work. A lot of the times I'm doing like larger format pictures for shows and just giving prints to people, selling prints, stuff like that, unless I have a client that wants prints or anything like that. But I try to stay away from prints usually because they're kind of a hassle, for me at least, just because I have such a busy life and it's hard to get. I have a lot of issues with the photo lab I used for a while, had a lot of issues with getting my prints, so that was kind of an issue. So I guess once I get back into maybe doing more seniors and things like that, then I'll probably start doing prints again. But I usually use share through my website is usually the way, because it has copyright protection. So if anyone tries to take my photos, then it will tell them no. So that's what I like about it. But I do a lot of social media. Instagram is probably my main platform that I try to get to followers and things like that, and just show off my I feel like for live music, that's definitely the way to get yourself famous these days as a photographer, is to share your music on Instagram with the musicians and things like that, in hopes that they'll repost your stuff and like comment and like and things like that. So that's usually what I do with social media. I probably see myself at like a 6.5, 7 maybe, 6.75 probably. But I feel like I've made a lot of progress, and this sounds kind of cocky, but like for my age group as photographers, I'm a little more advanced than a lot of the people I've noticed around me in classes and things like that. So I feel kind of ahead in that aspect, but at the same time I still have a lot of work to do. And I think that's also going to help when I am able to get the money to upgrade gear and things like that, because I have been shooting with the same stuff for a while, so that'll probably help me in the long run. But I also have stuff to improve on the aspect of I'm wanting to get into weddings. I've shot one wedding, but it was my grandparents' wedding, so that doesn't really count. But I have a couple booked this summer, so I'm pretty excited to kind of dabble in wedding photography, just to say I've done it and I have experience in it, because I kind of want to be one of those photographers that can shoot anything, if that makes sense. If anyone ever wants me to do a specific job, then I don't want to be confined to one specific type of photography, even though that's what the pros tell you not to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. What has led me to EPG and how do I feel it has benefited me? I've never really been to any of the meet and greets. I need to go, but I always see people posting pictures about them. But my favorite thing is just kind of looking at other people's work, because in a way it helps me see how I can improve as a photographer also. So going through and like seeing your pictures and seeing everyone's different pictures is really, it's really inspiring to me, because I can, if I ever get discouraged in my work or anything like that, or just kind of get uninspired, then I can usually get on there, and it's nice seeing all these local people who are just as interested in photography as I am. So I really want to start going to the meet and greets, because I've been seeing how cool they are. I just usually colleges a lot, so I usually have some event going on that I'm shooting or something like that. So, but I really want to start going to them, because it'd be cool to go out and meet everyone that I always see posting on there and things along those lines. I know a lot of the photographers that are in the group just from like mentoring and shooting different events and things like that. So it'd be really cool to go out and see everyone. But I know it's super inspiring for other people as well to see everyone else's work, and I like to get on there and kind of ask how I can improve as well. So if I post a picture and say, hey, how can I make this better, then that helps me as a photographer as well to see how I can kind of fine-tune my editing techniques or my shooting, things like that. What do I struggle with most as a photographer? I know a lot of people have probably said this, but the money part. Just because I'm in college and I work for USI Photography on campus, but student workers make minimum wage, so it's hard to kind of balance that with my college life and still try to make a decent profit off of everything. I also struggle with pricing myself right, because I always underprice. That's what everyone tells me, is that I underprice for my work. But I've noticed that when I price my work higher, then people usually tend to back away. That makes sense. They're afraid of paying for the quality of work, I guess. that's for sure. And I used to do families and couples and things along those lines, but I've kind of drifted away because I don't enjoy it as much as I should for other types of photography. It also probably came from, I worked in a portrait studio for a while, so I probably got really tired of packing in these 30-minute sessions of little screaming kids and things like that, so that's kind of what I struggle with in that aspect. But I also struggle with being stuck in Evansville. I know this is probably just like I guess a millennium thing of saying, but I'm ready to get out of Evansville and branch out. I feel like I've shot everything here a million times over, so I'm just ready to kind of make my own path, I guess, and travel the world and like hang off of buildings and take pictures and things like that. Do I have any tips for those just starting out in photography? I have a lot of tips because I feel like at the beginning I struggled a lot as a photographer because I was kind of like a lot of photographers do, they self-teach and just learning and learning and learning. And I was like, of course, on YouTube, like learning how do I use this camera, how do I make it work to the way that I want it to work and things along those lines. But when I was first getting started, I would often get discouraged and things like that because my work wasn't, I guess, holding up to other photographers. And I guess I'm just now starting to feel that I may be like as good as other photographers, but that's kind of like I guess a self-esteem thing. But at the beginning I was definitely struggling because I was like, I want to be like them, I want to be like all these different people, but it takes a lot of hard work and time and just learning everything you can possibly teach yourself in order to get your skills to that way. So I would just say, do not get discouraged because it will work out in the end. Enter your work in anything you can possibly enter in because it's nice having that on your resume that you've won so-and-so awards and things like that. Apply for as many jobs that are photography related as possible because one thing for me is I've never really worked in food, and people have talked about working in foods and things like that, but I'm like, why would I want to work in food when I can go get a job like my first job was with Life Touch or like with the Courier and Presser, things like that. There's always opportunities out there, so don't feel like there's not opportunities as a photographer because even though there's a lot of photographers in Evansville, there's always those job opportunities hiding somewhere. Someone's always looking for a photographer or looking for someone who can print and stuff like that, so there's always those people out there. So just get a job, take as many internships as possible. That's what I do. Every time I find a new internship, I'm like, ooh, I gotta get on that because I just want to learn as much as possible in order to better advance myself as a photographer. What does photography mean to me? It's kind of a deep question. I think of photography as a lifestyle. I don't think of it as a hobby or a profession. I think of it as a way of living. Like, photography is how I breathe, if that makes sense. I've been doing photography as long as I can remember, and it's just, it's always been this release for me. Anytime something's going wrong or I've been struggling with anything, I can always just go out and shoot pictures, and everything just kind of turns out okay. So even as a career also, I shoot as many things as I can possibly get my hands on, just to, because I enjoy photography that much. I don't think I'll ever get tired of it, because there's always new places, there's always new people, there's always new experiences that I can photograph. So that's one of my things, is that photography just isn't a hobby to me. It's a way of living, I guess, because I'm constantly shooting something. So I pretty much never have a camera in my hand. Like, I should physically get it sewn to my hand because I never don't have a camera with me. But that's what photography is to me. It's my heart. What inspires me? Probably other people. I love seeing all of the other photographers' work, especially social media, as cliche as it sounds. Is probably one of my favorite things that I can see other people's work on. Just scrolling through Instagram, I follow like 7,000 people, so I have all these different photographers that I'm constantly seeing their work, so it kind of inspires me. A lot of the photographers I follow are concert photographers, so seeing all the awesome like people spitting water in the air and like people flying through the air with a microphone and guitar and things like that, so it's really cool for me to be able to see everyone else's work. But probably the other thing that inspires me is the future, because I want to one day flourish as a well-known concert photographer. So thinking about all these bands and musicians I could be shooting for that you hear on the radio and things like that. That's probably one of the things that inspires me too, is just I like watching concert videos on YouTube and things like that, because I love concerts. I have such a big passion for music too, which also comes from playing the guitar, so I like to kind of experience all of that too. So music and photography go really well together for me, but that's what inspires me, mostly other people. Okay, what am I passionate about? As I was talking about music photography, it's made me very passionate about our local music scene also, because seeing all these venues and stuff that have been closing down lately, it's kind of sad, because these are the places I've been shooting for years and things like that, and taking pictures of all these different bands that travel from all over the country. So it's kind of made me more passionate about preserving our local music scene and making sure people are attending concerts and things like that, because I think music is a very important thing in the world today. It helps people express themselves in ways that nothing else really can. So music is, people are constantly listening to music, whether it's in the car or at work or things like that. So I think without music we'd all kind of be lost in a way. But music photography has made me so much more passionate about local music and concerts and bands and musicians and things like that, because I want them to succeed just as much as I want myself to succeed, because without musicians and bands then there's nothing to photograph for me. I mean, there is, but music-wise there's nothing for me to photograph. So I think that's probably one of the things I'm passionate about, is music photography is probably the most. Is there anything I would like everyone else to know about me other than photography? I'm a big suicide prevention activist. I've dealt with it personally, and you'll see me every once in a while in the newspaper or on the news talking about some like QPR training recently, or speaking at a conference or things like that, because suicide prevention is super important to me, even on a personal level, because I've dealt with it, I've attempted things like that, so it's just kind of something I'm really passionate about, and so I always make sure people know that I'm a person that they can come talk to. I'm someone who's reasonable and can understand what people are going through, even if I've never been through it myself. But that's probably what I'd say the other part of my life is being passionate about helping other people, things along those lines. My name is Kayla Hands, and I'm a concert and live music photographer. I am a daughter, a sister, a grandchild. I am a dog grandparent and a dog parent as well. One word that describes me is uber-tastic.